Hey guys, it's Maddie. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be giving you guys some super helpful information for if you ever find a baby animal, or if you're watching this because you found a baby animal already and you are looking for some kind of guidance on how to help the animal. I have left the timestamps of each animal that I'm going over in the description and also in the top pinned comment down below, so you guys can skip right to the animal that you found. Before we start the video, I am super happy to announce that I'm finally partnered with YouNow. So this upcoming Friday, March 30th at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I am doing my first YouNow stream as a YouNow partner, so you guys should come and hang out and we'll have a great time. So without further ado, let's get into all the information that I'm going to be giving you today. Hopefully you never have to use any of this information. It's also super helpful to have just in case you ever come across a baby animal and you're not sure what to do. So just a quick thing about me and my credentials on speaking about this topic. My name's Maddie. I'm a licensed wildlife rehabilitator in the state of Ohio, and hi, nice to meet you. I'm also really super passionate about wildlife, so I want everyone to know what to do when they're in this situation because it can be really stressful, and if you don't know what to do, you can do a lot more harm than you're going to do good. So the first thing you want to do if you find a wild baby animal is call a local wildlife rehabilitator. If you don't know any local wildlife rehabilitators, you can contact a local veterinarian or your local wildlife officer who can hopefully point you in the right direction. I will also quickly address the wives' tale that if you touch a baby animal, that the mother will no longer come back and claim the baby animal again. This is actually an old wives' tale that people used to tell their children to keep them from touching animal nests. But it's not true at all. You can touch baby animals, although you shouldn't unless totally necessary, and the mother will still come back. The next thing you should know is that a baby's best chance for survival is their mother. So the best thing to do is to try to reunite the animal with their mother. When you contact the local wildlife rehabilitator, they will probably tell you a lot of the same information that I'm about to go over with you. I cannot cover every situation on this video because I don't know of every situation that would happen, so it's good to contact a wildlife rehabilitator so they can address your personal situation. Please do not try to reunite the animal with their mother if you can see visible injuries, if they're bleeding, if they were inside your dog or cat's mouth, if they are cold and weak, or if they are covered in fly eggs and they look like little grains of rice, kind of. If you find a baby animal in that state, you can bring it inside wearing gloves, put it inside of a box, and keep it warm, dark, and quiet until you can get it to a wildlife rehabilitator. Please, please do not try to feed any animals that you bring in from outside. It is extremely dangerous if you don't know what you're doing and you try to feed an animal, and it can actually cost them their lives later on. Even if you think that you're doing the best for the animal, it's really, really, really important that you don't try to feed them. To keep them warm, you can do a few different things. If you have a heat mat, you can put it under half of the box on a low temperature setting, or you can use hand warmers like hot hands or a hot water bottle, or you can even make your own at-home DIY warmer with a sock and some rice or bird food and heat it up in the microwave for 20 to 30 seconds. Just make sure you check back on it periodically to make sure it's still warm and heat it up as necessary. I'm also going to put pictures of the baby animals up right here so you can see what they look like, because sometimes when they're young enough, it's kind of hard to identify them if you don't really know what you're looking at. So now we're going to get into the animals that I'm going to be covering and hopefully try to reunite them with their mother. First, we're going to start with baby raccoons. If raccoons are out during daylight, it does not always mean that they are sick or rabid. Actually, more often than not, it does not mean that they're sick or rabid. It's usually not a reason for concern if you see them out during the daylight. If the baby is crying out and it is alone, it does not always mean that it is abandoned. Sometimes raccoons can venture away from their mother, or their mother's sleeping and not watching for them, so you should really give the mother a chance to reclaim it. The best thing you can do in this situation is wear gloves and put the baby inside of an open container like a box, and provide it with a heat source like a hot water bottle or hand warmers, and leave it outside and observe the box for around 2 to 4 hours to see if the mother comes back to claim it. If the baby is weak, cold, or covered in fly eggs, you should not try to reunite, and you should contact a wildlife rehabilitator and bring that animal inside to get it warm. Next, we're going to be talking about baby squirrels. If the squirrel's tail is fluffy and its body is longer than 6 inches, not including the tail, this means that the squirrel is already independent and no longer needs its mother. If the squirrel's tail is not fluffy and its body is not longer than 6 inches, you should wear gloves and put the squirrel inside of a box. Observe trees around it and see if you can find squirrel nests inside of the tree. Squirrel nests look like this. Sometimes the squirrel has fallen out of the nest or the nest has broken apart. What you can do is put the box up the tree a little bit so it's off of the ground, away from any ground-dwelling predators, and secure the box to the tree. If you cannot find the tree that the nest is located in, attach the box to the tree that is closest to where you found the baby. If the baby squirrel's eyes are open, you can try putting the squirrel on the trunk and kind of trying to shoo it up the trunk to see if it'll climb. If it won't climb, you can just leave it inside of the box. Observe the box for the next 6 to 8 hours, making sure that the heat source is still warm for the baby, of course, and see if the mother comes back to reclaim the squirrel. Next is the baby rabbit. We get a lot of calls in about people who think that baby rabbit nests are abandoned because they haven't seen the mother back all day long. And in reality, this is very typical. Mother rabbits only come back to the nest around twice a day to feed their babies, so they don't try to attract predators to the nest. If you do believe that the nest was abandoned, you can put string or twigs over the nest in an X or a tic-tac-toe pattern, and then go back after 12 hours to see if the twigs or the string was moved, and if it was, then chances are that the mother is still coming back to the nest. If it wasn't moved, then you need to contact a rehabilitator. Rabbits also typically nest in very open areas, which makes them very susceptible to dogs and cats raiding their nests, and also having their nests hit by lawnmowers. So make sure you scan your yard before you let your dogs and your cat out very frequently, or before you mow your yard to make sure that there are no baby bunnies in your yard. If you find a baby rabbit that is bigger than the size of a softball or bigger than the size of your fist, they are already out and independent and do not need their mother anymore. Rabbits are also very easily stressed, so if you have to chase the rabbit to try to catch it, you should just leave it alone, and it probably doesn't need help because it can already evade predators. Next is the baby bird. If the bird is not feathered, it is called a nestling. Look for nests nearby to see if you can find where the baby bird has fallen out of. Typically, nests are attacked by larger predators, and sometimes the nest will fall apart and leave the babies on the ground. If you can find a nest, put the baby bird back inside and step back and observe to see if the parents are coming back to feed them. If you cannot find the nest, or if the nest is broken apart, you can make a makeshift nest out of a little container, like a margarine container, and poke holes in the bottom of the container. Line it with grasses or with pine needles and put the baby inside and secure it to the tree that was closest to where you found the baby, or in the tree where the original nest was. Step back and observe the nest to see if the parents are still feeding the baby bird. If they are, there is no need for concern and you can just leave it in there and it will be fine. If the bird is feathered, it is called a fledgling. Typically, fledglings will just keep popping out of the nest no matter how many times you put them back in there. So even if you do find the nest, chances are you're gonna find them again 15 minutes later right on the ground, right where you found them again, because they are persistent to fly and they will just keep popping right back out. This is okay. If you are afraid that they are going to get attacked by a dog or a cat, you can put them in a bush or on a low-lying branch and just step back and observe to make sure the parents are still coming to feed the baby. And last, we are going to cover the baby opossum. Opossums that are at least 8 inches from their nose to the base of their tail are old enough to survive on their own, or roughly around the size of a large dill pickle. A lot of times you'll find opossums dead on the road. If you find babies next to a dead mother possum on the road, take all of the babies out of the pouch immediately, because if they are latched onto the mother for too long and drinking the toxic milk from the dead mother, it can actually kill them. It is controversial whether or not the mother possum actually reclaims her babies. Some people say that she does, but a lot of people say that mother possums will not reclaim their babies, so it's just best to take it and contact a wildlife rehabilitator immediately. I hope this information was helpful for you guys. I hope you never have to use any of it, but I hope that if you are faced with the situation where you find a baby wild animal, now you'll know a little bit more of what to do and how to help them. If you guys have any questions about anything, please feel free to leave it in the comments below. You guys can always go and check out the wildlife group that I rehabilitate with. It's called Nature Nurses Wildlife Rescue. I will leave their website and their Facebook link in the description below, and you guys can check them out. And the last thing I'm going to talk about is what to do if you want to become a wildlife rehabilitator yourself. Some people, after they find a wild animal, are really intrigued with learning how to actually help them themselves, and it's super fun and really rewarding when you can actually learn how to help these and you can release them, and it's just a really rewarding process. So how I became a wildlife rehabilitator is I contacted a wildlife rehabilitation center around me, and I asked if there was anything that I could do for volunteering and whatnot, and they invited me to a local class where I went and I took the class and I got my rehabilitation license, and here we are. But you can also contact them and ask if they need any help. Even if you don't want to raise wild animals for yourself, you can always contact rehabilitators around you and ask if they need help. Transporting animals to and from rehabilitators or cleaning cages, everything helps. And of course, making donations is also extremely helpful, not only when you find a baby wild animal, but also if you just want to help out wild animals in general. So I thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope that this information helped you, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!